Number one, hi guys. Number two, I've just realised after I've just filmed the video, the content in terms of the artwork and the labels is a tad bit graphic. It concerns, how do I put this politely, deceased persons. Because of that, caution for those of you watching the video. If you're, what's the word? I can't think of the word. If you're curious, have fun. If you're easily offended, probably best to click off the video now. You have been warned. Have fun. Hello chaps, me again. I hope we're all safe, well and healthy. Today I'm bringing you a split 7-inch EP by my beloved Rotting Christ and a band I'd not actually heard of up until this point called Sound Pollution. It's called The Other Side of Life and it was released in 1989. This is an original pressing. This is actually one of the first things that Rotting Christ have released, so naturally it piqued my interest. I saw it on the old eBays and I bought it because there's no one stopping me from spending my money these days. Needless to say, it wasn't cheap. I paid £40 for this, and that was at the cheaper end of this particular EP. It's arrived in beautiful condition, though. I mean, there's no marks on it, there's no damage, no discoloration. I mean, for something that's 31 bloody years old, I would have thought it's got that horrible brown nicotine colour, but to be fair, it looks really good. So, a quick look at the artwork then. Very crudely done, as you would expect from an EP with little to no production value. We've got the logo stuck in the corner here, title here in... I don't really know what font that is, probably whatever one they could afford. And then we've got some people hanging there. All I can say to that is lucky bastards. And then on the back, I kind of love this, to be honest. There's this cartoony sketch type thing, which has completely ruined the atmosphere that like the bloody album was going for. Brilliant. I'm kind of guessing that, I mean, this release was by TNT Records, and I'm kind of guessing that they had this on the back of whatever they released. I'm assuming that's why they went for this. Otherwise, if this was an actual design choice that a sane, able-minded person went for, then yeah, very questionable choice. And then I have copy 943. There are 1,000 of these. So there's 500 in blue, which I've got. And then you have 500 in black and grey. The reason it's black and grey is because apparently they mixed the dyeing process up, or they ran out of dye at the pressing plant. And that's why you've got a black/grey kind of marbled effect. So let's have a look at the record itself then. So, I've got to say, I do love the colour, and it doesn't really go with the whole theme of the album, but to be honest, there really is no theme, so you could probably get away with having this whatever colour you bloody well wanted. And I'm especially impressed with the fact that you've got the custom labels, because usually on a production that's basically got no value or no money behind it, I mean, I don't know how much it was for this particular album, but I would wager it wasn't a lot. Usually you would just have the bog standard record label thing going on, but actually... it's pretty good. Why do I do this every time? I turn it upside down. Hold on, bear with me one moment. There we go. I want to hold my record properly, don't want to get it dirty. And there is the custom label for Sound Pollution, both of which was people dying. I'm guessing that's the theme of the album. Who knows? Anyway, I gave this a ruddy good listening to earlier, and these are my thoughts. I'm going to try something slightly different, actually. You know, I kind of had this nagging thought in the back of my head for the last few times I've uploaded videos that maybe it's not all that entertaining to kind of listen to me talk and watch an album art cover that's not really doing anything. So I'm going to put myself in front of the camera, conquer all the fears, and see what happens. Let's do this. So we'll start with side A naturally. This side was Sound Pollution. Guitar work was very sinister and laid the atmosphere almost immediately. Very consistent throughout. Unfortunately, each song or section opens up with the same kind of high-pitched guitar noise every time. The vocals, whilst being very raw and unpolished, were actually very varied, which was nice. Easily the most apparent thing on this album, as well as the bass. Vocally, the EP is actually very diverse in terms of the low ranges and the high ranges. The trouble is they repeat this on near enough every song, and it does get a little bit tedious. The drums sound very washed out, but I wouldn't say that's because of the drummer's skill or anything to do with the drummer. I would say that's purely down to the production of the EP. For a first EP where the production value, as I said, is next to nothing, the bass actually sounds brilliant, which is actually quite refreshing. All in all, there's a lot of repetition with the vocals and some of the guitar work, particularly in the intros, which is a shame because in an EP where it's so short, these repetitions are going to be very noticeable. However, there are some positive glimpses throughout, namely the intro in the EP, which is by far the best part. Vocals are diverse in range, even if they're not utilised in the best possible way. And there is some high quality and innovative, I can't even bloody talk, high quality and innovative guitar work laced throughout. Got there in the end, brilliant. So moving on to side B, which was Rotting Christ's side. So it starts off very fast paced, and I was kind of expecting this to be concurrent throughout the entire side, but it does slow down on a few songs, which is really, really welcomed. The drums aren't washed out whatsoever, which is a little bit strange. So maybe it is down to the drummer or the skill on the previous previous side. I don't know. For a grindcore EP, the drums are actually quite diverse, but I do feel like you might need a trained ear to kind of hear this out. Guitar work was actually very good. I was expecting it to be very uninspired or just, not all that. But again, you do see little bits of innovation, especially with some of the intros and the riffs. Didn't really notice the bass in this one, which was a bit of a shame. It is there, just not as there as I would like. Vocally, it's nowhere near diverse. To be honest, I didn't really mind this too much. Zakis' vocals are usually very deep in range anyway. There was actually a couple of songs where they did go, the dynamic range was, you've got the low, you've got the high, but it really fell under the same critique I gave to Sound Pollution, which is a shame because it literally felt like they copied from that, that particular side. I might be wrong, but it feels like on Rotting Christ's side, it feels like the production value was that little bit more higher. I don't know if that's actually the case because obviously this is a split EP. I would have thought the same amount of money would have been spent for either side, but it just felt a little bit more high quality this time around. In terms of Rotting Christ's side, it's far more higher quality in terms of the diversity, which is impressive given how short the EP was. Far more technical in terms of guitar, drum, all the instruments and the vocals. Not to say that Sound Pollution wasn't, it's just Rotting Christ was just a little bit more so. You can definitely feel some of the Rotting Christ trademarks here in terms of Zakis' vocals and also some of the guitar work. Ultimately, it was far more pleasant to listen to despite how raw the whole ordeal actually was. So after listening to both sides, I can safely conclude that Rotting Christ's side was by far the better side, and you can easily see that this EP was the first stepping stone into their success as an underground metal band. Sound Pollution didn't find much success. They released this split EP in 1989. They had an album called Plactic Holocaust the year before this, and the same year as this EP, they released a demo with a band called 7 Minutes of Nausea. I should definitely mention quickly at this point, when I was listening to this, I didn't realise that Zakis was the vocalist for both sides, and I didn't even clock it. Maybe this is why Sound Pollution wasn't so popular. I feel like Zakis might have obviously focused more on the Rotting Christ projects. Who knows? Anyways, that's enough from me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.